Nick, what's up, man? How we feeling on this Tuesday? Looking good.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. The Saints are playing again. The
Mm.
last exposure wasn't too great. I kind of enjoyed the little bit of time off, but we'll see how they come back from it.
Yes, the bye week is always welcome or not a bye week, but yes, a Sunday off in a bad season where you can kind of sit back and just enjoy football like the rest of America does. And for whatever this is worth, Nick, the NFC South sucks, right? And I'm happy.
Man, it's crazy how bad all these teams are. You're watching the games this weekend thinking someone's going to close the door on the Saints, and the door is still wide open. I don't know that they still deserve an open door, but it's there for the taking. And if they can find the way to reset and figure out some of the stuff that's been plaguing them, specifically on defense, I think that's the biggest shock of the season right now. Is that the defense is the problem? I don't really think it's the offense. I mean, obviously they threw 3 picks in the last game, but they are 31st in the league in scoring defense,
That's
which is just it's flummoxing, man. It's crazy. I can't believe it. So I mean, I kind of have more faith in that side of the ball to figure things out. That might be dumb faith, blind faith, but just based on history and the staff, they haven't historically had bad, disorganized defenses. So I kind of feel like maybe they can get it back on track. And if they can, if they win a couple games in a row, that might be enough just to get back into the thick of things, fix the psyche, and actually be in a position to go 500 or a game above 500 the rest of the way, and maybe sneak into the playoffs. But right now, that feels distant just based on some of the stuff we've seen.
Now, is it on all three levels, Nick? Like when you look at the defense, like where are the main issues coming from?
Well, for me, it's mostly the secondary, and it's just continues to be a surprise. Obviously, Marshawn Lattimore's out, but it feels like maybe they didn't hit on the safeties. Marcus May's been okay, but there's times where he doesn't look like he used to look. So we'll see how that goes coming out of this. But yeah, I mean, them missing on the safeties, I feel like it is the most damning thing for this organization, because if you look at it like over time, that's the one position they've drafted and developed possibly better than any other. And now they let their homegrown talent go. They bring in 2 guys. They kind of aren't blending in right now. There's some issues. I thought Tyron played a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is, spirited this week. I thought he had a little bit of a better, more noticeable game on film, but I thought May was kind of lacking a little bit there himself. So at some point, I think possibly those 2 guys click, but it's been a challenge for them back there. And I think if those 2 guys kind of lock in, they start making plays, I think the rest of the defense is in a much better position. But after that, then it's the interior defensive line for me. It's been invisible. Onyemata hasn't been the same guy since he got suspended. No. The plays just aren't there for that group. I still like what they're doing at linebacker. Pete Werner's been good. He's had a couple spotty spots in coverage. I think that'll clean up with the experience. DeMario, I still think is really good. He might not be the elite player that he was, but he's still good, serviceable. He rushes the passer as well as he ever has when they set him on blitzes. But I think more than anything, I'm kind of looking at the safeties and then just the health of the corners. And if they can figure that out, maybe they have a chance in that weird division.
Yeah, it is a weird division. Look, it doesn't matter. I just want to make the play. I'll be the 7-9-1 commies winning the division. Like, who gives a damn, dude? Just get in the dance. If they're gonna do that, where do you stand with the quarterback play currently? Obviously, James Winston, is it a health thing? Are they just playing Dalton because Dalton played well? But then I feel like the last couple of weeks, Nick, you've kind of been saying, like, look, yes, Dalton played well, but there may be a couple breaks that he got that ends up going his way. This last game, a couple breaks go the other way, and that kind of came to fruition. Where do you stand when it comes to the quarterback position right now?
Man, I don't even care. Like, just play one of them. I feel like you kind of have the same downsides with both of them. The
fair.
upsides maybe a little higher with Dalton, but I think the upsides on the intermediate to line of scrimmage stuff is higher with Dalton. So there's upsides for both of them. There's downsides for both of them. One of them has to play. At this point, I think if you're Dennis Allen, you're just looking at it like which one does the best job of preserving everything here. Because look, if they don't come out of this and they lose a bunch more games and they end up winning 4 or 5 games this season, somebody's losing a job. And it probably won't be DA, but Now your offensive staff's at risk and that. So I think you just got to kind of look at it like who's going to give us the best chance to stay in these games, not make mistakes. And, if you're DA, now you're looking at your defense to help the quarterback. And I think that's the biggest issue here.
Yeah.
After this season, I think they gotta look at all their options at quarterback. Obviously, I don't think that you've seen enough out of anybody to have a long-term answer. Jameis has been injured, so with fairness to him, there's probably a second act there. But based on everything we've seen overall, I would be surprised if they are not looking at every single quarterback option this offseason, trying to see if they can do something better, just like they did last offseason. So I think that's something they got to kind of figure out. I would, maybe see what the Patriots are doing. Bailey Zappi probably didn't close the door on Mac Jones last night, but if he had, that might have been something. Hey, second round pick for Mac, see what's there. And again, maybe that's not the answer, but they're at a spot right now where you got to pull every ticket at quarterback, and you got to just keep swinging the bat until something hits. And every option that's available, you got to look at. So I think long term, it's a position that's unsettled that they got to figure out. And right now, I mean, it's Marcus May, it's Tyrann Mathieu, it's figuring out the other cornerback spot. And if you can figure all those things out, I think Andy Dalton's someone who can win you games. And I think if Jameis Winston comes back and looks like he did last year, you can win games with him. But when you get all the pieces around, I don't know. Is the 5-yard pass over and over and over more valuable than the 45-yard pass once a game? And that's the thing that they got to kind of figure out. But to me, I mean, I think they're both extremely similar. I think it's a legitimate debate. And I thought it was really interesting that DA kind of acknowledged that there's an actual decision to be made when Jameis is healthy. He said that yesterday, that they're going to sit down, they're going to meet, they're going to talk about it. So I don't think that the door's open or closed on either guy right now. I think that they're trying to figure it out, see who it is. And, that kind of tells me that Dalton's in that mix. And if he's made that decision hard, I don't know. It could surprise him, maybe lean that way.
Now, Nick, I mean, no one assumed you were going to be throwing to Shaheed and Kevin White and Callaway and Traquan Smith in a Thursday night national TV game, but that's the situation that either Saints quarterback is kind of faced the last couple of weeks. When can they expect to get some help and get Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry and just get their weapons back?
Well, first of all, man, I can't believe that you're going to slander Kevin White after his breakout performance on national TV. He's back. He's back, man.
He slowed down. Did he? Am I crazy? Did you see the same thing?
He hasn't had to run that far in a while.
Nick, does he really not have a career touchdown? That's factual?
He does not.
Sorry, what?
T-Bop told me he does not have a career touchdown.
Kevin White doesn't have a career touchdown. Is that a true fact?
I don't know. That's what T-Bob told me.
I Googled it. I will look it up.
He's going to look it up while we're talking. If that's the case, as the number 7 overall pick, but why are you slowing down? If I've never scored a career touchdown and I see the end zone, I am hitting my mock speed.
Kevin White's career stats: 27 catches, 387 yards, 0 touchdowns.
I think I had more receptions and yards as a fullback.
The longest catch of his career.
I mean, I swear I think I do.
The longest catch of his career was that catch.
That was it?
Yes. Oh, everything was in front of him. He finally had a touchdown, and he slows down at the end.
I would have pulled my hamstring, both hamstrings, if I saw the end zone.
Right there, he starts to jog.
He does.
You got to do everything you can to get in.
Oh, my gosh.
Bruh. I know. He finally had it, dude. Unbelievable.
And look, he like flies on those gunner snaps too. So like, I made the joke, like he he does run, like he runs the full field and he gets down there in a hurry. I don't know what happened there for him, but yeah, I mean on the injured guys, I mean, man, I'm always so scared to talk about Mike Thomas just because nothing ever is planned. And when I first heard it, it was like a 2-week injury.
Yeah.
And now it's not. So I have no idea. We're gonna see tomorrow on those guys. I mean, Jarvis was out at the Newman game Friday night, walking around, looked fine. So I mean, like there isn't like a visible limp with him. So maybe he's on the comeback trail sooner than later. I think there was hope for Marshawn in this game. We'll have a clearer picture of that tomorrow. But yeah, they need to get some of these guys back. And I'm going to go back to it though. Like I don't feel like the offense moving the ball has really been the issue. It's in the red zone, and I do think that getting those guys back helps a lot down there. Maybe they get out of this run pass pattern that they go into every single freaking time they're in the red zone. I think that would probably be helpful, even as well as they've run the ball. At some point you can't be run pass.
No, you can't be, which we've talked about for multiple weeks. Hey, real quick, sorry, T, to step on it. I want to ask you, while we're on the offense, about the left guard position. I know voodoo is a thing in New Orleans, and I think there's voodoo on that position because Andrews Pete's been bad. Calvin Throckmorton graded out at 31.5%, and the film showed that. I know these grades sometimes don't match up. He struggled again. I mean, I know he's a backup. I know he's not a starter, but the left guard position has been troublesome, to say the least, for the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Pete ever gets healthy, it would be him back in there. If not, I would probably look at maybe Lewis Kidd, see if you can get
somebody
more out of him.
Different,
I mean, if the downside with Calvin Throckmorton, you see what it is, and it's kind of, living in that area, I would look at that. And then if Trevor Penning ever gets back on the field, maybe you kick James Hurst inside if Pete's out. But he's going to test that the foot starting this week. The boot was supposed to come off this week. He was supposed to get on the field, start testing it out, then start building back up toward it. So I think that November timeline is still what they're kind of looking at. They're hoping for. And, with him, he was getting better in camp. I don't know where he's going to be at when he comes back. Obviously, I think some of the growth got stunted, not being able to do on-field work, but maybe, he's picked up some stuff doing mental reps, being in meetings, all that stuff that has kind of helped keep that growth going a little bit. I don't know if we'll see him play at all this season, but if he does, I think that would be an option too. But yeah, that's definitely been a spot. That's been a soft spot for them. The shocking thing of this season, the most surprising storyline is right guard is actually maybe kind of settled. Like Cesar Ruiz is looking like he's become a solid NFL player. I don't want to, it's a week to week basis with him, given how things have gone on the first couple of years. But I mean, he's actually looking solid now.
I agree.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, I was gonna ask for a positive. We'll take that as a positive. Now, Brandon Hollingsworth in our Bayou Ford YouTube chat says Saints need to trade everybody and get some picks to start over, including Peyton. So it's interesting, Nick, because maybe it was just in like the immediate reaction, kind of bad vibes last Friday, but like this is a question that we arrived at kind of organically, but then definitely throughout the rest of the day, through the weekend, I think a lot of people kind of arrived at the same sort of question. Are we being too reactive just because everything feels so bad right now? Or is there real merit to maybe looking at some sort of reset?
Yeah, as far as being too reactive, I think yes and no. I mean, the division's still alive. I mean, so I don't think that they're ever going to pack it in as long as there's a beacon of hope out there. That's just kind of not Mickey Loomis's DNA. But, the reason I really think that they wouldn't even consider that is because they would have to admit they made a mistake, like that things didn't go well. And I just don't think that they're at a place where they're going to do that yet. I think that's kind of puts a bad light on your head coach and what you're trying to build there as well. If you do that already, you're kind of pulling the rug out from underneath him. And I don't think they're going to do that yet. So I think they're going to keep fighting for it and keep pushing forward. I think there is some merit to trading some guys. I would maybe look around and see and kind of be honest about where you're at. And, to me, the question isn't, can we make the playoffs? It's, can we win the Super Bowl? And obviously the answer to that right now is clearly no. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. So I would look at guys in the last year of their deal. If it were me, I would take some calls. Okay, are we going to be able to re-sign Marcus Davenport? If the answer is no, see what's out there. Yeah, see what's out there. See if you can get something for him. Get some of those picks back because you need a quarterback. And you aren't going to find that answer, on a hope and a prayer. Like, yeah, maybe Aaron Rodgers materializes out of thin air and you can do something there. But the odds of that actually happening are really, really low. So I think that you got to just accumulate assets and be in the best position to try to get a quarterback, because if you don't, you're losing games how they've lost them on some of these mistakes and that. So, I would seriously consider it if I were running the team, but just kind of looking at their pattern of moves and their DNA and how they've done things over the years, I would be kind of surprised if we start seeing guys getting sold off.
Yeah. I remember, I think like Duncan years when they're going through the 7 and 9 stretches, I remember him saying, look, they view themselves kind of like like a Steelers type organization, and that they're going to be very patient with things and they don't want to ever appear to be too reactive. Hey, not to be too reactive, Nick, but at least we got the Pels, right? And I mean, what y'all got some exciting stuff going over there in the what do you call the overall network? Why am I blank right now? Is it the NOF network?
Yeah, NOF network, and yeah, man, 7-3 is looking possible. So that's still alive. 7-3 in the first 10.
That's right.
Big
Get out of
game
that 5-5 stuff, T-Bob.
Big game tonight. We're going to talk about it after this. Luka and the Mavs. But look, Nick's site is neworleans.football. You heard our guy hold the mail yesterday. Who's going down his streaming list. New Orleans Football is on there. It's on mine as well. It is worth the price of admission. The best Saints coverage. Nick, thank you so much, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
New Orleans Football. If you want to go try to figure out and make heads or tail of what's going on and what the film is saying. Remember, Mike Triplett now over there as well. So Nick and Mike, hell of a job. Indy Groove should have never traded Chauncey. I know, dude. The curse.
I mean, because
CD Deuce.
Look, you got Justin Evans out there grading out in the 30s back-to-back games at the safety position.
But we can now draft a quarterback in the 5th round. Probably going to find your answer there. Or you heard Nick.
Who's been the greatest quarterback
we
ever
can get
selected
Mac
in the 5th round?
Jones. I don't know. What was Dak was like a 4th rounder, right?
I was hoping when he started that conversation. Bailey Zappi? Oh,
yeah, no.
You get
When y'all asked Nick about the quarterback situation, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "I don't even care." That's pretty much where we are.
Well. So but yeah, the point of that is that he's right. Like we always want to focus on quarterback, but I think I do agree with him after listening to him, which is the quarterbacks are both not great. And so it's pretty interchangeable with Dalton having an edge, I would say, but we just don't know if Wentz is healthy, does he fight back? But they have larger fish to fry, right? I mean, the defense, like you said, the defense has got to get it figured out. And I don't know. It's hard to feel like they will. It's so odd they missed on safety, like he said. I mean, they drafted Von Bell and Marcus Williams, 2 guys that are top 5 in the league right now.
Yeah, and then Marcus May is not coming off his best year. He's actually coming off a pretty bad year a year ago. Like the really good is 2 years ago, and a bad year. And I know he had an injury, but when he was out there on the field, it wasn't his best tape. And then now he's kind of continuing what he did that year, not 2 years ago.
Not to the same degree, but kind of what you saw with like Jarius Byrd coming in towards the end. Just not as effective as he once was, in a new defense. It's just a bad combination.
Well, and they went all
the
in
Jarius
on the Byrd
stuff.
stuff.
When they went all in, I was calling every Saints fan that I could. I'm like, I had questions about it.
Byrd, hindsight's 2020. Byrd benefited in Buffalo from a defensive line that featured Kyle Williams and Mario Williams, and it's easy to play safety with those guys rushing the passer. When teams just throw up fly balls and you get to go pick them off, stack stats, and get all pro. I don't know.
Yeah. We played against them in Buffalo.
And I mean, I imagine playing DB in Buffalo is not bad because the weather either. Can't be easy.
Our game
for
that we played
quarterbacks to
against
play
was
when
in
it
San
gets that-
Diego.
I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying? Like when it gets like all windy and crazy, like I just feel like there's probably lower passing stats in Buffalo than most cities.
Let's not bring up that name. Brings up a lot of bad memories for Saints fans.
Buffalo?
No, Jarius Byrd.
Oh, yeah. I was like, huh?